The intense trip on mushrooms was just like it was so freaking intense. I met the mosquito queen. That was the only way I could explain it, was she was the fucking mosquito queen. Changed my fucking life. And I was good for a minute, but I still had this feeling like I can't wait till I'm ready to do it again. DMT was different. DMT was like, if tripping out, the different levels of tripping out was a building with 100 floors.
Yeah.
Okay. DMT took me to the penthouse. And the people in the penthouse was like, you're done, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Shefsky here. Welcome to Fantasy House. Every week, a different special guest gives us an intimate, creative, no-holds-barred tour of their fantasy house. It is the world's only NSFW real estate podcast. It's not safe for work. Just so you know, there's your warning. People get creative. The guests come up with gnarly stuff. Some episodes, they're super clean, and the guests are not, saying anything dirty. Some episodes, we get into the weeds. People talk about sex, drugs, eating, the bathroom, all this kind of stuff. So it's just a ton of fun for adults to get that kind of imagination exercise going on. Every episode is brought to you by me, Jon Shefsky. I am your Southern California realtor, or as I like to say, your Southern California realtor. Guys, it's wild out there. There's so much going on. Loans are super cheap right now. Mortgages are cheap. It's nuts. And you might be curious, hey, should I buy a house right now? Should I sell a house right now? What is a house? Just send me an email, fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to talk about buying, selling, why I love multifamily apartment buildings, any of that stuff. I'd be happy to do a free Zoom consultation. Email me at fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com or go straight to my Instagram, JONSHEFSKY. Why not? You're chilling at home. It's just one more excuse to get on Zoom and have a good time with somebody, all right? Super stoked. My buddy Mike Eshaq is here. He's a hilarious comedian and a great dude. And we talk about for me, it's just like, I love talking about deep stuff, the nature of reality, interesting stuff, and then his fantasy house, dude. It's so much fun. It's so great. So now, in the words of the great Angelo Bowers, let us do this.
Won't you take us all around the world? Your fantasy house. Your host with the most experience in your fantasy house. The only money for expensive construction. The only way is your imagination.
It's interesting. Like the intense trip on mushrooms was just like the most intense one I had was in Indonesia and Bali. It was so freaking intense. I met the mosquito queen. That was the only way I could explain it, was she was the fucking mosquito queen. Changed my fucking life. And I was good for a minute, but I still had this feeling like I can't wait till I'm ready to do it again. DMT was different. DMT was like, it's like if tripping out, the different levels of tripping out was a building with 100 floors.
Yeah.
Okay. DMT took me to the penthouse, and the people in the penthouse was like, you're done, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
They're like, you met the boss. You're fucking done.
You met the boss. You beat the boss. You're done. You're just totally done. There's no more game left.
So weird. But anyways,
it's a weird, it's all, you say, but anyways, cause it's like, well, where do you go from there? It's so weird. And it's so what I say, state specific, and like you can't explain half of the stuff in English language to explain to somebody like, well, it takes you away, and it's like it's beyond like your feelings and like the corporatization of like psychedelia, where you're like, oh, my hands, or things look colorful. It's like, yeah, that's so a very small part of it. At the end of the day, it's.
But then there's this feeling, there's this like awness, and it's just like this like. God, look how expansive my mind can be. I heard apparently NASA discovered a parallel universe. And they've discovered this parallel universe. And apparently they're saying the properties there, time goes backwards.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're really affordable. I was like, well, let's go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's a discount universe. Everything is low prices.
Trippy, you're listening to trippy ass real estate. I'm just like, the properties? What's the market like in this universe? I'm there.
Yeah, right. Okay. What's the crime rate?
But our jobs doing good. They got good employment there. How many industries are holding that area up?
Yeah. How are their schools?
So But how do they even say that they discover a parallel universe? I know I've seen them do the thing where they shoot like photons and they're like, two came out from the.
I didn't look into it exactly. A lot of it usually, when scientists theorize this stuff, it comes through that complex math, which is so, like, to us, when you see these scientists doing these scribbles and these scribbles that and symbols that don't make sense to us, is somehow explaining a part of the universe. I can't wrap my mind around how that fucking works. But look what just happened with the Hadron Collider.
What you just happened with the Hadron Collider? No,
you know what the Hadron Collider is, right?
Oh, I know what it is. Yeah, of course.
Right, but look at how.
Do I know what it is? I know what it looks like.
Well, I mean, I have to. But
I don't understand the math.
My point, I don't understand the math either. But my point is that the scientist that theorized it was one of the very few scientists to still be alive to watch his theory come to life.
Oh, that's awesome.
So to me, what's crazy is this now very old man got to see his theory come to life in a multinational collaboration of scientists to see if the God particle actually exists.
Is it Higgs boson or
the Higgs boson? Yeah,
so it's a boson, right, or Higgs?
It's the God particle. It's supposed to be the particle that, like, so basically they keep discussing, finding out all these elements in the universe, and this guy theorized through complex math, saying that the math is telling me that there is another element that we haven't discovered yet, and it acts as a glue. It's the thing that keeps all of this shit together. It's what makes everything stick together. And he figured that out through fucking scribbles. Yeah. Okay, bro? And then some other fucking wacko genius looked at those scribbles and was like, yo, man, I'm going to show this to these other wacko geniuses, and we're going to fucking shoot an atom around a fucking pipe through multiple countries to create a small Big Bang so that we can see, does this God particle actually exist? And then they find it.
Yeah, it's
the
mind-blowing,
bro. You want to talk about tripping out on DMT? These motherfuckers are just tripping out with math.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do that? It's just fascinating. I don't know. That's just fascinating to me.
Well, it's weird. I mean, that's one of the ways that they prove things in science is they go like, well, it should add up, and if this happens, this should happen, and then these other things should also happen if this equation is like encompassing a lot of stuff. And they either find out like, yeah, this. I mean, they're doing it right now with one of the coronavirus treatments that they have. They had this theory that it was like it's not a respiratory virus at all. It's a blood vessel virus. And they said that there's this, I forgot what the name of this hormone or chemical or whatever it is, but there's a certain chemical, it starts with the letter B, in your bodies. And for people that have like a bad reaction to the coronavirus, their bodies don't have like the
Is it butyrate?
No, but it's something similar. Like it's a very similar thing. Anyways, but they said like that when they're testing it, they're like, and lo and behold, like the stuff that they said would happen because of this chemical, all the stuff just, it's like, it all matches up, and you go like, that happens also. And then if so, when we do this will happen. And you're like, yep, that does this. And it's the same, like with all these sciences, like they use mathematics to say like, it would show us this. And then it does. And it blows my mind when it does. And you're like, whoa. And that's also how they find out that they're wrong, or that they have more to learn about like time or something like that. They're like, the math doesn't add up in this part. It adds up on these three things, but not this other thing.
Sometimes the math is right now showing us stuff that there's no way we can use any experiments to prove. But because so many times these motherfuckers would come up with these theories, like even like Einstein. Like Einstein didn't live long enough to realize that his theory of gravity bending space-time, like he's the one who came up with the equation. He had this dawn and he realized, and then he started working out the math, and he realized is like, yo, gravity bends time. Time is a fabric, kind of like a sheet. Like if you were to have four people pull a bed sheet and hold it taut. Right?
Oh yeah, I've seen that experiment.
Nice
I love that experiment.
And then you take a bowling ball and you drop a bowling ball in the center. It's gonna bend around the bowling ball. That's how time works.
The mass affects the time, and you're just like, how does the mass affect time?
It's kind of weird, right? So for so long, people were like, we don't know, Einstein, we don't know. And then they ended up developing technology where they could actually see that. And what's even crazy is that's the reason why our GPS works today. It's because of his equation of figuring out the time, the bend in space-time around the Earth. Without that equation, the satellites wouldn't be able to pinpoint us correctly on the planet.
Oh, because things would be off. Because it would be expecting things to be a certain, and it wouldn't be.
Isn't that crazy though? But
so
like to
weird.
me, it's just like it blows me away. These smart motherfuckers can figure that out. So like when you see moments like this happening often, you start believing the math more. So now the math that's telling them that there might be a parallel universe where time goes backwards, I'm now going, all right, go on.
I'm listening. But what does that even mean if time goes backwards? Or like when they say like it's the laws of physics in these worlds or in these universes could be completely different than ours. I'm like, I don't understand how anything could exist or in another realm if the laws of physics didn't make like particles attract to each other. You know, like if particles didn't do what particles do, how could you have any form of existence evolution? Not just biological evolution, just existence of things. Like how could they evolve and move?
Rogan had this scientist on who was like explaining like other universes that they're like looking at, and they're saying that like there's so much that we don't know about the outer reaches of the universe, to the point where he's like, you know, you look at this one area where a galaxy is forming. He goes, if we can make it over there, they may have properties that don't even fucking exist here. Like the idea of up, down, left, right doesn't make sense. And like oxygen doesn't exist, or.
And you're saying in our universe, not even in another universe.
Vision is not even a thing, or.
Oh, can you imagine not being able to see stuff?
Or whatever, like properties that like our makeup can't even comprehend what the fuck we're looking at or what it is, or properties that are so crazy that if you put us over there, it would disintegrate us.
Yeah, I mean, that blows my mind, because in theory, I can't even, it's like trying to imagine what my cat's thinking. It's like, well, he's not thinking the way you think. So how could you imagine what his thoughts are?
Exactly. Like, God, bro. The world's fucking crazy, man. Like all this information that we're getting, I get giddy about it though.
It's exciting, right?
Yeah, it is exciting, especially with these UFO sightings now.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that the pilots of now are able to go on Joe Rogan's podcast and talk about it because it's declassified.
Yeah, it's super weird.
And then you get Bob Lazar talking about the gravity propulsion system, saying that when they tried to reverse engineer, the only thing he understood while he was working at Area 51 was that the gravity propulsion system was a system that was able to bend space-time for travel. So imagine these aliens are in their fucking universe. Instead of traveling from their universe to Earth, they bend space-time and bring Earth to the ship.
Yeah, it's super weird.
And like when you listen to the pilot on Joe Rogan, he was like, they were tailing this thing, and in 1 second, it went from 60,000 feet to 1 foot above sea level. So it's folding space-time to travel.
But what I don't understand with Bob Lazar is when he's talking about them shooting it down with a rocket. I'm like, how do they not have, like, we have technology we can at least have the concepts of like nanotechnology and little robots that can do stuff. We already have a plastic that you can break, that inside the pellets of plastic microscopically has liquid plastic. Once they're exposed to oxygen and they break open, it releases the liquid plastic, and then that dries and it repairs itself. It's like, how am I supposed to believe that a spaceship with that much technology is like, oh no, our wing got shot off? I just don't believe it.
But wait a minute. You mean to tell me, I don't know about that part. Is Lazar saying that specifically one of them got shot? Because
I feel like he did. I thought that was one of the things.
When I was listening to what he was saying, I mean, he might, man. I haven't listened to everything he said, but like a lot of these were just recovered. So they were recovered. They were like, they said like a lot of these crafts were just crashed. Like they found them that way. They were just like there.
Isn't it hard to believe though that these things would crash? If you could go from 0 to 60,000 feet to 1 foot above sea level, like that's going to have a malfunction and not have a self-destruct like thing that makes it, if from molecular level, like disintegrate so that nobody finds it. Like,
what if these beings want us to find it? Like another theory is, what if these beings
jacking off to us, being like, "Hey, I'm trying to understand these clues." Like, look at these foolish humans. They really are those Futurama. Simpsons
the other
characters.
theory is either these aliens are from another part of the universe.
Yeah.
There's the other theory where they might be from Earth. That they might be from the fucking because the Earth is so massive and we have never been actually to the center.
Inside?
Or under the ocean.
That's sketchy. That's interesting.
So that's another. That's why they're saying they're wondering why they always find typically these things going over water. A lot of the times they're always coming across them over water. Another theory is, what if they're future humans traveling back in time to manipulate the timeline?
Is that a Mighty Bush song? Future humans. Oh, no, it's Future Sailors. Future humans traveling back in time to manipulate the timeline. Future humans. Such a Mighty Bush title. Dude, I mean, that would trip me out, the future human. I feel like they had that concept in AI, the Kubrick Spielberg movie, that like the evolved humans are what we think of as aliens. It's like, that's who it is. Do you ever read Graham Hancock?
No, but I've listened to him on Rogan or some other podcast.
That's what first got me into Rogan. It was like, this guy, Joe Rogan, the comedian, he's like, I podcast for like a new thing. And I knew Rogan for years because I loved his dating material. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, did you just say, my buddy told me, I was like, did you say Joe Rogan interviewed Graham Hancock? Because before that, none of those worlds seemed to collide. I felt like no comics. Like,
so you were like reading Graham Hancock before it got popular?
That sounds like such an ego drop. I was reading Graham Hancock before he got popular. And everyone's like, who's Graham Hancock? It's like, well, he's popular now, isn't he? And everyone's like, who? But yeah, dude, I love Graham Hancock. And he's a weirdo and he believes in some trippy ass shit. But his theory in one of his books was that like elves are real and like all the mystical stuff that like from old fairy tales is actually like reality and they live like deep in the earth. And he's like a big ayahuasca guy. And
wait, Graham Hancock believes in that fucking shit?
Graham Hancock, he's into the weirdest stuff, but he's not like he's not an asshole about it. Like he's like such a gentleman, and like he got his diver's license so he could go look at those sculptures, those forgotten
But Graham
cities.
Hancock, isn't he? Also, he's the guy who is like disrupting the science world with discovering water erosion.
Oh, in Egypt,
Egypt, which would probably end up dating humanity further back than we thought.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, but see now, doesn't it delegitimize? Doesn't it like make him like less legitimate? The fact that he's saying that motherfucking Keebler elves live in the center of the planet.
Well, they live in the center of my belly at times. No, I think that I think that one thing for his trippy stuff is. He might have claimed that, 15 or 20 years ago in books or, he likes to do like ceremonial drugs with indigenous peoples. So he might have had those experiences and then changed his mind. He's changed his mind several times on big stuff. So I wouldn't hold him to any of that stuff. I just think it's fascinating, some of the trippy theories that he has. And it definitely makes you go like, wow, like if someone that smart and seems that grounded and almost square, like a regular English journalist turned into that, open-minded, it just makes you wonder from the stuff you and I are discussing right now, like what is the nature of all this stuff, and it's so deep, and
listening to Graham Hancock really makes me wonder if religions that people are following now are just the remnants of whatever information was left after the cataclysmic event. It's like a piecemeal. Like maybe humans were like very far advanced mentally and technologically, and then the cataclysmic event happened, and then now what religion is just they're the remnants of what humans remembered of the past. I don't know.
I think you do know. I think you're right on to something really interesting right there. And I agree with you that so much of our modern day religions are from that. And if you are willing to take the time to go back and read stuff, I mean, I read a really interesting book that Graham Hancock recommended called The Harum Key or Codes, and it was about like the history of Freemasonry. And just so much stuff was so interesting in this book. And again, these are theories and journalists going back and trying to do research, so who knows? But the theories that they come up with, super fascinating about like the origins of religions. And like even in that book, they talk about stuff like Jews and this other group called like the Jubilees and all this stuff. And they're like, that might have been where Jew came, like Jewish Jews. And then it gets me to a point, and forgive me for rambling, I'll stop in a second. It gets me to a point of thinking along the lines of what you're saying is the religions, all these main religions being piecemealed things from prehistory that we don't even know about. And in ways they're kind of accurate, in other ways they're not accurate. But I've heard some of my favorite like atheists, like Christopher Hitchens. I've heard him argue, about the silliness of a God being up in the sky, and and then it led me to believe like, well, without even having like all of these evil human beings try to use religion to control people and control their tribes for better or for worse, simply with just things being lost in translation through language, we've got what we have with modern day religion. So we have a bunch of people taking religion literally nowadays. And it's like, it might have never been said by wise people, 300,000 years ago, whenever we really started, that God was up in the sky. It might have been translated so many years over and over again that something watches from a perspective afar.
Or maybe an alien came down from the fucking goddamn sky.
Totally. I mean, totally. That's
right?
definitely one of the weird, interesting theories too. But it
the idea of looking up at something coming down. I mean, I think that's where it comes from. Is because for so long, man, humans thought the world was flat and there was nothing below us but fire. But everything good was above us. Everything beautiful was above us. Is how we looked at it. And I think a lot of ancient pagan cultures, especially the pagan culture that the Prophet Muhammad came from, they were worshipers of the moon. So like a lot of cultures were worshiping things in nature, and a lot of things they would worship are either the moon or the sun. And like those pagans in the Middle East where Muhammad is from, they worshiped the moon, and their word for the moon was Allah. So then when Islam ended up like taking over, I mean, that just ended up becoming the word for God. And it's the Arabic word for God. It's not even the Muslim word for God. Like in this country, we're like manipulated into thinking that Allah is a Muslim God. No, Allah just means God in Arabic, but it derives from the word for the moon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think that's a lot of the reasons why we look up, or people think God is coming from the top. And then the other thing is what if fucking these aliens came down from the fucking skies, man? And I mean, if I was an ancient monkey, I'd be like, yo, that's the creator for sure.
Oh, for sure. Dude, even if you were an intelligent being in pre-science without even knowing about particles and bacteria and germs and all that stuff, the fact that at night is when it's most dangerous to be wandering around and there's predators and it's cold and you can't see in front of you. And then during the day, something holds a flashlight for you to say, look, there's food for you and your family. There's shelter. So, I mean, just seeing a light in the sky is like, oh, it's up there. But I mean, yeah, you're dropping serious knowledge here. But I just find it fascinating too, that regardless of how right we are, or if we're even on any right trail to getting some real knowledge, some real objective truth about history or whatnot, without even many of the mingling into these stories that our whole cultures live by, all you need is just things to get lost in translation with no negative, people trying to be bad and having thoughts of trying to control people, just through the simple fact of like things getting translated year after year and getting lost in floods and getting lost and getting changed into different languages. That alone makes it hard to know, like, what were people even talking about? What are we? And you make all these assumptions when you read the Bible or the Torah, or
it's a thousands-year-long game of operator. How the fuck can you expect everyone to actually get?
It really is.
You know what I mean? Like, how's this in the Quran, man? I remember this was the beginning of me kind of losing my religion because I was raised Muslim. In the Quran, man, there is a chapter on how to beat your wife. And I remember when I came across that chapter, because a lot of Muslims, a lot of people of religion claim themselves to be a religion, never read the fucking book.
Yeah.
Most people never read the book. They just leave it up to the imam or the priest or the pastor or the rabbi to hand it out. Most people are fucking lazy. They don't actually read the scriptures. Well, I ended up spending a summer reading it, and I came across this thing, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, it literally tells you that, like, the woman is supposed to listen to the man. Now, mind you, there's a bunch of things in the Quran that actually give women rights, and that's why a lot of women back in the time when the religion was being started, they actually fought to make Islam a real thing, because it was the first time a document came out that gave women property rights. Like, back in those days, women had no rights, no rights to nothing. But in the Quran, it was like, no, man, women deserve to be a part of society. And then there was like strict, but at the same time, there's this one thing where it says, hey, woman, you got to listen to your fucking man. And it tells the man to tell the woman once, tell the woman twice. If she doesn't listen again, to take her into the bedroom, place her on your bed, and beat her.
Crazy.
Okay?
Yeah. It's crazy by today's standards. You're like, this is insane.
When I read that, I was like, what in the fuck, right? Now, this pissed me off because in my house, nobody fucking taught me to hit women. My dad, there was like a no hitting girls policy. And I couldn't touch my sister. It was impossible.
Even your own sister? You can't even fight with your sister?
No, I couldn't even hit her, bro. She deserved it too. You know what I'm saying? Like she had it coming. So yeah. And then I read this thing and I'm like, what the fuck? Then I challenge other Muslims that like are real Muslims. And you know what they all tell me? No. You hit her lightly. And now, John, I'm putting into every perspective human nature now, and loss in translation, and I think now that is not a verse about how to discipline your wife by beating her. I think it's a play-by-play for BDSM.
I was going to make a sex joke. And I think
basically what that's saying is like, yo,
you guys need to fuck it out.
This woman ain't listening to motherfucking your voice. So you play bad girl. You've been a bad girl and then fucking hit her a little bit lightly and dick her down.
It's hilarious because it's so could be just like simple. It's just like, what do you call it? Simple, brutal, old school marriage counseling. Like, oh, you guys are bickering over stupid shit.
Yeah.
And things aren't getting done. And winter's coming and we don't have all the harvest taken care of. So
fuck it out.
You guys need to go fuck, man. You need to fuck it out quick. Hate fuck, do whatever you guys got to do. But you both need to come.
Hit her a
cigarette. Yes.
Hit her a little.
Maybe she wants you to choke her.
They like that. They like that.
Turn her on, man.
I've noticed every girl likes to be fucking hit just a little. The light smack in the butt, whatever it is. Girls like
a little tush slap.
Man, God's a freak.
But I think you reminded me too of, for me in my life, my Jewish part where I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, was similar, where I had to read a book about Judaism, right? And I was already in my 20s and I was just interested. So I asked my mom, like, I want to know more about Judaism, because I kind of like always thought it was BS since I was a kid, but I was getting older and getting more interested. So her rabbi in England sent me this book about the history of the Jews. And I'm reading this book and it's just like one thing after the other just caught me in this spot where I was like, I'm supposed to look up to this. So I'm reading about Moses, right? And I have always envisioned Moses as Charlton Heston, just because of who I am and the era I grew up. Like, I watched the Ten Commandments every year when it was on CBS or whatever. Like, I mean, like that to me, I envisioned Charlton Heston, right?
For sure. And like a Prince of Arabia was a white dude. Come on now.
Totally. But not just the nationality, but the fact that it was a good character. Like, he played a good guy. So you watch Ten Commandments and he's a good guy. Right. But you read about the history of Moses and you go like, he was a great leader for his people, but like the stuff he claimed that God told him to do, like basically like kill all the men and children and save all the jewels and like all the money from the town and the women that were young and hot to be concubines.
So he had sex slaves.
I was like, okay, now I get it that was a long time ago, so I'm not like saying like I'm going to exhume him and put him on trial like some weird South Park episode. But I'm just looking at like, so what is that like? I'm glad that he was a military guy that was able to get people through some bad times, but at the same time, like, this is like a holy man. Like, what about God would make it that he would need to have a time like, oh, in those days it was different. I was like, but if God told him that, I was like, you think God's not like, God's above culture? It's got to be like, God's got to have known like fucking children was wrong for all of existence. Like, not. And are you saying like, well, he couldn't communicate that to the people at those times because they weren't ready for that. It's like God wasn't an eloquent enough communicator to like let people know. He could tell you how much your yaks were worth and how much like how to treat your guests and like how to give them tea and like, send them on their. But he couldn't tell you not to fuck a kid. Like, it just seems so. It seems bullshit. And so I told my mom that stuff, and obviously she was upset. And my mom's identity is very much wrapped up in being Jewish, and part of mine is too. I mean, it's my culture, my people. But at the same time, I'm like, as a Jew, like, it's part of my culture to be like, excuse me, like,
yes, exactly.
I have a question that doesn't make, excuse me, as the instructor's moving on, like, no, I still have a question back here. And it's like, you in the back, the same fucking asshole that asks. It was that. It was David, the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. You know about that because it shares the mosque and all the drama that goes on there. Dude, like, that wall. I went to that wall when I was a kid on the Birthright Israel trip. shedding tears there, thinking like my ancestors used to pray at this spot and all this stuff. But then I'm reading about it in my mid to late 20s, and I'm like, wait, King David was a fucking asshole. Like, he was just doing like the worst stuff. Like, these people were murdering other tribes, and not in ways where it's like, hey, we had to defend our people, but stuff where it's like, hey, that's trickery, or that's shady, or like, you didn't have to, do all this raping and pillaging. It's
So your question is look, is this just an account of history that's being labeled and played as holiness, or is this actually what God is about? Maybe God is just an evil, green, tyrannical fucking alien that gets really fucking happy and gets his dick hard, or his dicks hard, on seeing us fucking fall over each other over these little stupid pranks that he likes to play.
I mean,
you know what?
Maybe.
Like Bill Hicks had this bit where this old bit. Bill Hicks was like, he was like, when I debate Christians, they tell me that the world's only 6,000 years old, and I go, you know what? I got one word for you. He goes, I got two words for you: dinosaur bones. And then he goes, this Christian guy told me God put dinosaur bones all around Earth to test our faith. And Bill Hicks goes, no, man, I think God put you here to test my faith.
I fucking love that bit, dude. I love that bit.
Oh, you got a Bill Hicks tattoo.
Oh, dude. And
Bill Hicks is the man, bro.
He's a nutter butter. I wish I had the passion and the time to get all my favorite comedians tattooed on me, but I do have a Bill Hicks tattoo.
Yeah, Bill Hicks was the man, bro.
Oh, so funny, dude. And so fearless to say that.
He wasn't like necessarily the funniest fucking comic, but god damn, man, he was like, he really, like some other comic said, he would always leave a stain on you.
Yeah.
Like whatever he said stuck.
I mean, he was. I thought he was hilarious. When I was a kid, he's one of him and Carlin got to me when I was like, very, very young, because it was like before Comedy Central was even a thing, like A&E, Evening at the Improv, and a couple other little special things like that. And you just hear that, and you hear some logic, and you're like, whoa, fearless logic at a young age, right? For better or for worse, I heard it, but probably turned me into a real asshole of a contrarian. But yeah, his stuff is amazing, the stuff he was willing to say. And he's one of those people where I'm like, man, what would it be like if he was like in his, late 50s or what is it, 60s right now, like commenting on our society, like those fearless comics, obviously I guess what it would be like is like what we have with people like Burr that are out there, Andrew Schultz, and people that are like, I'm just going to say what I think.
Yes.
But yeah, I digress. So I don't know that some of those, I just wanted to tell that story because it was you got me so excited about your reading the Quran, and mine was reading not the Torah, but reading about Judaism, and the same thing where you're just like, hey mom, like this is, and my dad's always been really cool. I don't know if your dad was saying, my dad's always been like when I was a little kid and we learned about Noah's Ark, I must have been 7. It was Sunday school. My parents were in temple. Our classes got out. I go back into the synagogue. We all go to find our parents, and I nudge my dad, like, they told us about Noah's Ark, and he's like, yeah, and I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like two animals, every species, like on one boat. And my dad is like, my dad just told me, he leaned down, he's like, I know. Like he as a young kid told me like hoodwinked or whatever you call it. It was like, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
It's either intentional bullshit or it's like they missed a lot in translation. And I still know adults though, at my age right now, that are just like, oh no, that's a literal story. I'm like, are you fucking insane?
But what if it was? So God damn.
That's what you've been saying. Yeah.
What if there was an ark that was a technological, amazing feat that maybe was a collaboration with the goddamn fucking aliens? And having every animal on there wasn't actually having every animal, but they had petri dishes of DNA for every fucking animal because a big flood was coming. Who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck knows is right, and which is a great title for our podcast that we're doing right now. But dude, what about this? What about this, Mike? Let's just say that it literally happened like that. Noah, the whole thing, giraffes next to velociraptors or whatever they said, the whole thing, right? Because you mentioned multiple times simulation theory. So there's a guy, Eric, I forgot his name. There's a trippy dude, like a Bay Area psychedelic pioneer kind of trippy dude. And he was a journalist. I think he was the last guy to interview Terrence McKenna before he died. So
okay.
One of his claims to fame. But just an interesting dude. And at some lecture that I saw online once, he was saying like that we have to face the fact that reality is so strange and that we understand it so little that even stories as silly to us as like the biblical stories, we come full circle. We come back around and go like, even those, we could be part of a simulation where some 12-year-old other being has us built into their computer.
Yeah.
And they did put like Jesus doing all the exact stuff and you go, why would God do that? But not do, it's like they programmed all this stuff. And you go, man, that blows my mind even more because it makes me have to be humble to like some of the dumbest shit that people think is real.
Right.
I'm like, that might be real. And I might be like just looking at a little portion of everything.
Right. I think the whole idea of simulation theory will fucking maybe lend credence to the Christian idea that the universe is only 6,000 years old. Like, what if the simulation is 6,000 years old, simulated to be 50 billion years old? Then what? Then now we have to listen to fucking Rush Limbaugh like he's real?
I sure as hell don't. You torture yourself if that's what gets you off.
Or we got now praise Pat Robertson, tell him we're sorry for all the times we called him a fucking idiot.
Oh God. I'm not apologizing. Look, I'm humbly coming at you saying, I didn't know, Pat. I didn't know. Oh, yeah, dude. Wild.
Well, we went deep, bro.
We went deep. That's what I love, though. That's the real conversation. That's the how's the weather shit that I'm like, who cares? But
Yeah.
this is just, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Do you want to give us a geographic location of your fantasy house?
Oh, yeah, dude. So the geographic location for my dream home is the island of Bali in Indonesia.
Yeah.
The whole fucking island.
Sorry, folks.
That's it. I own the fucking island.
What's it say? What is there a sign? Does it say Mike's place?
No, fuck that. I'm buying Bali to make sure that we can fucking preserve Bali.
It's a real Bali move.
That's like, you know what I'm saying? You got to. Have you ever been to Bali?
No, I would love to though.
It's fucking gorgeous, man, if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, man, it's a fucking shit show of just white people.
Just tourists taking over like a Chris Rock
Oh, my God,
joke.
bro. And this is the thing. I don't mean to sound racist, bro.
No, it's okay.
Like,
It's all freedom here. You say whatever you want to say.
like the first thing I would do if I bought Bali, guess what I would do? The first thing.
Ban white people.
Kick them all out. They gotta go.
Dude.
You gotta go. You're taking your fucking crunchy fucking menus. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, dude.
Your dreadlocks. You're done. Bye.
Goodbye.
5 years. 5-year ban on fucking white people.
It's all right. We'll do it. We'll handle it if we have to.
Sorry, man. You know, listen, dude. I love white people. Most of my friends are fucking white, but when you travel, they ruin the aesthetics of the traveling, you know? Like, I can't wait till fucking Elon Musk comes out with Neuralink because I want to be able to have an app in my brain where the app just automatically edits out any white people in the scenery that I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm sitting on Bali on the beach,
Dude.
all the white people are replaced with Balinese-looking people
Hilarious.
in fucking batik dresses.
You're allowed to do this because this is your fantasy house, and I said there's no holds barred. Am I even allowed to see this fantasy house? We're here to do a tour. My whole crew, everyone. No, there's no white people on my crew.
No, you can't even come into
into
Indonesia. Because you're Jewish. They don't like Jews in Indonesia, bro.
Do they not? Oh yeah, man.
Well, because of Palestine.
Oh,
You know,
man.
predominantly Muslim countries like have a big problem with how like Palestinians are neglected by everything, including Israel. But yeah, but you could, so long as you've never been to Israel. I think I fucked out. I don't think I can go back into Indonesia now because I've been to Israel,
I've been to Israel
2 years
too,
ago.
Yeah.
I got an Israeli stamp on there because I did shows in Palestine, and now I think I need to get a new passport because if I want to go visit my family in Indonesia, they might ban me.
They won't even let you go in.
So it's fucking retarded. Anyways,
Well, right now you can't go anyways because you're in America and we're not
No
allowed
one
to go
wants
anywhere.
us.
No one wants
Yeah.
us. And
No
our
one
dirty
wants us.
germs.
so Bali, no white people, because like I think it's very important to preserve fucking Bali, man. Bali is like a really beautiful fucking place, man. It's just gorgeous. And the people are so freaking nice and their culture is amazing. And every time I go there, man, it's looking more and more like fucking Silver Lake. It's like out of control, dude. If anybody out there doesn't know what Silver Lake is, it's like the hipster nightmare of LA. So yeah, there's a lot of that, and it just ruins it. Like I go there and I'm like, so in Bali, if you really want to escape all the tourists, you got to go to the east side of Bali, which is beautiful because you get to see the sunrise and shit. That's where I would build my house, right there on the top, next to a fishing village. It's fucking dope over there.
Nice.
It's quiet. There's like nobody, but I want my house to be I want it to be, like, I don't know about you, man. I like to relax, but I also like to fucking party. It'd be really nice to like host some really cool fucking parties maybe once a month. Like in Southeast Asia, one thing they love doing is full moon beach parties.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's got to be great.
Have you ever done that?
I've been to the beach on full moon for sure. I love.
No, but I'm talking about like a legit like all out party, drinking, fire dancers, fire pits, mushrooms.
Nope.
Next to the water. It's fucking awesome.
That sounds great. That's what we're doing in your fantasy house.
But you know what would be an awesome fucking dance floor, I think, is also dangerous. All right. So imagine like
I just can't wait to hear where this is going.
So like I kind of want a giant, so for example, a giant saltwater tank is in the center of the entire fucking home.
Okay.
That's sort of like the centerpiece. And it's got sharks in it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta fucking have like a spot for alligators. Just dangerous. And like the dance floor is the top of the fucking fish tank.
I knew that. That's terrifying. With sharks.
D-tooth, and you have to take mushrooms too.
Oh God, how am I even going to keep it secret that I'm white and Jewish if I'm on? You're going to give me mushrooms while I'm on the island? Like, hey, that guy over there is talking about being Jewish. Mike, you going to kick him off the island? I'm like, hey, what's going on? Just tripping balls.
Listen, I think the only white people that would be allowed on the island are the white people I know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll take it. I'll take that privilege. Thank you, sir.
But to me, it's like, not just white people, man. Tourism in general, man, has really fucked Bali. Like, it really has. Every time I go back, like, on a serious tip, it's just like the plastic is becoming more prevalent in the water, and it's fucking pissing me off, man.
Well, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but, dude, that is a fascinating fact that I find difficult to solve, because so many of these countries want tourism because that's money for them to make in the countries and the people to have industry. However, the trash that comes along with it is a huge thing. And I found, you look into like Disney owns a bunch of islands and does their cruise stuff. And you're like, how much trash comes along from them having those products?
That's true.
That they're doing. And again, it's like that old Chris Rock bit with like the people that actually live there, like how much wealth are they actually acquiring? Or is it just their elite are making all the money? And then people are coming there trashing everyone. But it's tough to do, because if you say, well, let's stop doing that, and you see what happens to these economies with what happened with coronavirus. So we need biodegradable plastic.
But the positive of like having Westerners come to Bali though was that they brought more of an eco-friendly mindset to the Indonesians, because before a lot of the Westerners decided that Bali was such a great surfing destination, the Balinese over there were very like primitive about how they were approaching fishing. They were doing a lot of dynamite fishing.
Really? So they were doing wasteful, like awful shit.
So they were like destroying coral,
their own coral reefs.
While like, but they didn't understand that shit. So like, this was like a pretty new thing at the time. And in the West, people like white people, especially surfers and stuff,
the people you want to ban, yes,
and pretty much,
I want to go by on Earth Day. They can come to my island and teach you.
No, but now there's like a lot of good. So there's like a partnership. Like a lot of the Westerners that are there now are spearheading more good environmental practices, protection of the corals and stuff like that. So it's like there's also a good symbiotic relationship there. But it's just, I don't like looking at white people when I travel.
Okay, cool. Go back to your dance floor. We got to get through this house, dude. That's your quote. I don't like looking at white people when I travel. Okay, I'm taking a break. Okay, This is a vacation. I don't need to see their pudding skin.
My girlfriend's white. So I don't know. Like, I just think like a big fish tank. It doesn't have to have sharks in it, but a giant fish tank in the middle of a house would be really, really dope.
Great, that's awesome.
Especially if it's decked out right. I mean, it would cost a lot to maintain it, but this is a dream house.
This is fantasy, no money.
I would have anything. But like having that as the centerpiece all around, so like in certain parts of the house, even when you're in the kitchen, there might be like a view of that tank. And I don't know. I just think that would be really cool.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of the house being a big, like a cylinder type of shape, though. So if you have something in the middle, you can see it from all the different angles. You're going to be around that tank.
Cylinder would be even better. I wasn't even thinking like that, man. You know, but cylinder would be even cooler because like that's harder to create. You know, but yeah, and then I own the Bali, and then I have this giant home, and I would think I would love to throw some full moon beach parties over there. I think it would be like just epic. Supply everyone with mushrooms. Have guys making mushroom shakes. Like on Gili Island, everywhere you go, you can get mushrooms. You go to the grocery store, buy mushrooms. You go to the restaurant to eat, and then if you eat, they'll ask you, "Would you want me to put mushrooms in the salad?" And they really mean like legit mushrooms that'll make you trip. I mean, the whole island.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, Gili Island. That's straight up. It's a tiny little island off of Bali. It's devoted to partying. It's inhabited by Muslims that were descendants of the criminals of Indonesia. Because the island next to it, the island of Lombok, was the Australia island.
Yeah,
it was where they threw all their criminals.
Yeah.
So these guys that live in this tiny little party island are descendants of criminals that are Muslims that peddle and eat mushrooms.
Wow. I had no idea. Dude, you're just dropping insane amounts of knowledge on this episode. This is crazy.
Yeah,
I just didn't know there's anywhere in the world where you would actually go. You're not talking about in your fantasy world. You're talking about in real life, where they'd be like, "Would you like mushrooms on your salad, sir?" You're like,
yes.
No. They're like, "No, sir. Would you like mushrooms on your salad?"
Yeah. Dude, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. The whole look it up when you get a chance. Anybody listening to this, Gili T, Gili T, and the T is short for Trawangan, which is hard to pronounce. So Gili T. Then there's two other Gili islands that are devoted to other things. Like one of them is more of a quiet island for couples, and this is all like within like 1 hour boat ride from the island of Bali. Like Bali is one of the best places to travel because it's such a small island that gives you so many eclectic experiences. So they're very easy to get to these different views. Like you can go whitewater rafting in the island of Bali, then drive to the east side to a fishing village, then take a ferry to the party island. It's just like, it's amazing.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
amazing.
You're doing a great job of trying to keep people away from your beloved Bali, by the way. You work for the Board of Tourism. You're like, don't you dare come to Bali because, you see, we have a party island where they put mushrooms on your salad, and we also have one that you can relax at. The food's really good. And I gotta tell you, the water,
people.
Yeah, the water's super clear. And sorry, no white people allowed. That's the disclaimer at the end of the commercial.
Yeah.
Must be anything other than white to apply.
Not until 5 years later. If anything, I would put a ban on all tourism. Really, when I say white people, I'm just joking. Because like when you travel, it's like majority of people that are tourists are people from Europe. Like a lot of people that you'll see are like a lot of Europeans. But I would just like, if I was to build this home, I would buy the whole island. I would put a 5-year ban on tourism. Clean that whole fucking place up. Let those fucking Balinese people regain their culture in certain areas, and then open it back up, I guess.
So, is there? Do you have a kitchen in your house that you want to show us to? I want to go through like a tour since we saw your fish tank and your banquet party. Do you have kitchens or any other special like unique rooms to your personality?
Yeah, honestly, when I was thinking of my kitchen in a dream home. I would love a kitchen that only had a portal to my aunt's kitchen in New Jersey. And I just want her to cook for me because she's fucking amazing. She sent me Indonesian food, home cooked from New Jersey to Detroit last month. It was freaking amazing.
What was it? Let's have that fantasy meal right now.
It's rendang.
Okay, what is rendang?
Rendang. So like in Indonesian, the pronunciation is rendang.
Rendang.
But it's rendang, RENDENG, and basically it's this spicy coconut meat. It's like stew. So like they cook it in this spicy coconut concoction, this beef, and then they render the sauce down until it's extremely thick. And it's just amazing. You pair it up with white rice, and they have this like obon sapi. I actually got some like right here shipped to me from Indonesia. Yeah, it says obon sapi.
Okay, yeah.
Which is basically like a little seasoning that you can put on your food, and it's basically dried beef. That's all it is. It's just dried, spicy beef, and you can put that on top of it, and it adds like a little crunchiness to it. It's a very complex Asian dish, man, but it's just fucking good as fuck.
Oh, it sounds great. My sister-in-law does that with, she'll get like dried pork Mexican style to put on stuff. Oh, wow, baby, you got rocks outside?
Yeah.
Cool.
And my favorite that I'm going to paint was blue.
Oh.
Because that's what he saw on Mommy's computer from her work.
Oh, cool. Have fun painting them blue, baby. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My son he was outside grabbing some rocks to paint. All right, so we're eating.
I don't know, like for the kitchen, man. You know, I would love like a decked out kitchen, for my girl to cook in, I guess. But my dream kitchen would just be that door that opens up to my aunt's kitchen. Great,
no, that's great. I think that's so cool. I hope your aunt knows how much you love your cooking, because that's super rad.
Oh, dude, it's so good, bro. I think I'm gonna do a Zoom call with her soon and try to like figure out how she makes that.
Good, do it.
Yeah,
I love cooking, dude. It's been one of my favorite things to do as I've gotten older. I always thought like cooking's for other people. I suck at it, and then eventually get forced to learn how, and it's like it's actually a really fun art because you get to eat it. I don't get to eat my paintings.
Yeah,
I want to eat my art. Like, I would rather eat a piece of chicken than.
That's how my girlfriend is. I like simple cooking. I like making good food, but I like the quick shit, like ribeyes. They cook so fast, like that type of shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you have to throw it on a skillet with some avocado oil, and you're done. And you're just like, this is delicious.
But I really appreciate complex cooking. It's not something that I want to do, but this is a dish that, like, out of everyone in my family, I think she makes it the best, and I think it would be a shame if nobody could replicate it again. You
better get that recipe and carry it on.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Take me to is there a bathroom in your fantasy house?
Oh, yeah. Bathroom. Definitely. I want one of those Japanese toilets that like have you seen those amazing toilets that you like walk in, and when you walk in it turns on and heats up, and it knows if you're trying to take a piss, and the lid opens up, and then when you're done it like closes and cleans itself, and
they make like the toilet's like excited. Sir, please come here and shit into my mouth, please.
Bro, even that, if you could program it to say dumb shit like that, you know what I'm saying?
Got any piss for me, sir?
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. But yeah, like I would love that. I'm not a big fan of like having TVs everywhere, but I wouldn't mind. Like that is like, I think, I don't know. I think the TV should be regulated to the living room.
Yep.
Have other people had like TVs everywhere? Anybody like? I
mean, I'm just thinking of like as far as like in this reality, going to restaurants that have TVs everywhere. I'm usually bummed when I go to a place. I'm like, oh man, there's TVs all over the place.
Yeah,
I didn't
bro.
Like it doesn't say it was a sports bar. Why do I have to have a TV everywhere? And it's like loud. You're like sitting this way, and you're like distracted when you're talking to your wife or your friend. Or
some of them are out of control. Some of them it's like above you, next to you, at your table. It's like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
It's insane. It's insane. So yeah.
I would definitely have that. Oh, you know what else I would have in the house? The fucking holodeck from Star Trek Next Generation.
Oh, dude, I would love to have the holodeck.
Because I was just thinking like, VR, because I have a portable VR. I have the Oculus, man.
Oh, yeah, you told me the other day, yeah.
That thing is basically the holodeck. It's fucking cool as shit, But imagine the real holodeck from Star Trek Next Generation, man.
I do every single day.
Yeah, right? That shit was the shit, man.
Skydiving and orgies.
Is that all you would do? Skydiving and orgies?
Skydiving and orgies. I'd skydive into orgies. And then I'd be like, I'd like to have the orgy while we're all skydiving. See what that feels like. Is anybody into that? My wife's like, what are you doing in there? Like, nothing. Just
the orgy while you're falling, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to like come when you softly land together.
That's actually how you pull the chute. Is you have to bust a nut.
You have to bust a nut just in time.
You look at your altimeter and you're like, I'm almost there.
Yeah, it's dick control.
Dick control, dude.
Do you die in real life though? No.
Terminal nodopathy. No, you don't die in real life. Not
Thank
in my
God.
holodeck. My holodeck
Okay.
is totally. You're totally safe.
Yes.
What would we do in your holodeck right now?
That skydiving orgy thing first for
Okay.
damn sure, man. I'm taking that idea. I'm running with that
Good,
shit.
good.
Man. Like, why the fuck would you need a girlfriend if you had a holodeck? I guess love's important.
You got to have love. You got to have communication. You have to have pushback. That's the thing with AI. There's no pushback in AI, and you need that.
You can't. You don't think you could program the AI to give you like wifey pushback?
And I think eventually you'd be like, I'm turning the pushback off. But with a person, you're like, I don't know how to do a lobotomy. You're just going to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh man, what would I do in that, dude? I would go to the prehistoric time.
Oh,
I would
yeah.
use that as a time machine to like witness things. I would love the holodeck to be able to take me and replicate times in my life that I could like reimagine, as if, you know, kind of like how you wish you would be able to revisit certain times of your life if you died and you were a ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That type
yeah.
of shit. I would love that. You know, like what a good opportunity to reassess like what
think
made you who you are and shit.
I think they're going to do that eventually, because you're not the first person to say that they would like to be able to relive stuff. And there's so much in psychology about like going back through your past traumas and whatnot.
Right.
They're going to do that eventually.
Yeah, but how?
Maybe
Here's
we're
the
in
thing.
one right now. Is it mine or yours? Which one of us fucked up and has to relive their entire life? Have you ever seen Defending Your Life, the movie?
No, is it good?
Please watch it. It's a comedy,
I'm gonna write it down right now.
but it's just good.
And there's a section of the backyard that if I could have enough acreage and have like an area, and we'll have the Balinese play their ancient music that they play with their metal drums. It sounds so fucking cool and soothing, you know. And it would be a safe space. Like it would come with a fucking soothing shaman,
Yeah.
you know, someone that could like get you very comfortable with going on this fucking journey, you know, that type of shit, you know, like the smells are right, the sounds are right, the scenery is right, not just some fucking sterile room to fucking scare the shit out of you.
Thank you for changing all that. You just started looking.
Because I knew as soon as I said that, you were like, you gave me that look when I told you about the sharks.
Yeah, I was already having a bad trip, and you're like, I think I'll make the tripping room a little bit easier for Shefsky, because. Where else do we have to go? We got kitchen, we got bathroom with an amazing talking toilet, a tripping section with a safety shaman.
Well, definitely in the bathroom, man. It's got to come with all the fixing, heated floors.
Oh yeah,
you know, sauna. I would love to have a sauna in there.
I just got a
Steam
sauna. I
room.
freaking love saunas.
Cold dip, like that Korean cold dip water, man.
Go
That
from the
stuff
sauna
is-
to the cold dip.
Fuck,
Oh,
that's the shit, man.
yeah. It's supposed to be so
you
good
know.
for you too.
Massage room, you know, all that shit for relaxation. The holodeck's gonna be just amazing. Even have like a room devoted for LAN parties, so everybody can go and fucking have like, you know, shootouts on Counter-Strike or whatever fucking everyone's playing these days. Yeah, man. What would be nice is to also have a movie theater.
What would we be sitting down watching right now if you had a theater?
Oh man, the Big Lebowski.
Oh hell yeah!
Fuck yeah, I love that movie, man.
Same here.
I mean, I was in the Marines when that movie came out, and it's so fucking funny in such a subtle way. And one of my favorite things that made me laugh the most when I watched it was that scene where Bridges is driving and he's smoking the joint, but then he's also trying to read that letter.
Mhm.
And then he drops the joint on his crotch, and then he tries to put it out, and then the car swerves and hits a light pole.
Oh yeah.
The way that car hit the light pole was fucking hilarious. To this day, just the way the Coen brothers made the car hop when it hit the light pole, the timing of that was fucking genius.
They have just they're such perfectionists and attention to detail that
They're
it's
great.
Unreal how good their timing is in so much of their movies. Like all the scenes, like every little joke is just perfect time. Yeah,
I like their consistency of almost every movie. The plot revolves around money. Almost every movie. Big Lebowski. There's the money, Lebowski.
Oh yeah.
Right? No Country for Old Man. That bag of money.
Yep.
Raising Arizona. Like everything revolves around
That's a great point.
That's like if you and pay attention. Almost every time, burn after reading.
Yeah.
She's dying to get money to get her plastic surgery. That's the whole reason the
Fargo.
whole thing falls apart. Fargo. Right? Isn't that crazy? Like if you think about it, almost everything revolves around
Blood
money.
Simple. Is Blood Simple about money too?
I haven't seen that one.
There's Blood Simple, and then there's the other one, like the mob movie, like in Michigan or whatever.
I'm sure it does.
Dude,
they're pretty consistent.
It's got to be, yeah. Oh man, I love Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
Dude, I love your fantasy house. It's been amazing. Is there where should people find you?
Do you really like the fantasy house, even though you're not allowed to come?
I was there just now with you, but then afterwards they take my passport and they're like, and you can't come back now for 5 years. And you know what? I'll willingly be part of that rule if it's actually going to help the environment. I'm all for it. If it's just to be a racist asshole, then fuck you. I'm staying on the island, dude. Find me. Yeah. Chase me around. But no, I'll do it. No, dude, it's freaking awesome. I feel hashtag blessed guest being in your house, dude. It's super rad. And getting to eat rendang.
The rendang.
Rendang.
Yeah, that's awesome that you could roll the R's like that, bro. It's good.
Dude.
Rendang.
Rendang. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, yeah, where can people find you? I almost said...
on everything, pretty much Mike from Detroit. Venmo, YouTube, Instagram, everything. Mike from Detroit.
Yeah. Follow Mike. He's a hilarious comedian. Awesome dude. Dude, it's a great episode. Great conversation. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was deep, bro. We went deep on that.
But that's the stuff I like to listen to, and I hope that my listeners get a taste of it, because that's the interesting stuff to talk about, in my opinion.
I'm going to listen to it again, man, because I like talking with you, man, because it's like the back and forth is really good. Like, you know, like you really take it to places that make me go, okay, let's go even deeper. And then you go even deeper. And it's just like, man, all right, that's fucking dope. I like it.
Well, I appreciate it, because that's how I felt about you. I was like, oh, dude, you're just making me bounce back and forth to this. So I think we both hopefully complimented that conversation for each other. Guys, check out Mike. Go for Mike from Detroit and follow him and check out his comedy and support him. And if this is your first time listening, hit the subscribe button. Give us a review. 1, 2, 3, 4 stars. Give us any star you want. I would just appreciate you giving us an honest review. It'd be great. And if you're a longtime listener, hit the share button. Send this to somebody you know that is excited about Bali, about any of the stuff we were talking about orgies while skydiving.
Gilly Tea,
the island of Gilly Tea, just any of this good stuff. Or people that just eat mushrooms on their salads. And just send this to somebody. Sure. Hit the share button. Be silly. Have fun. And thank you to all of our frontline, all the workers doing all the crazy stuff. We got fires going on in SoCal right now. Tons of people putting their lives at risk. Thank you to all of you.
Yeah.
Stay safe. Have fun.